Welcome to Realty Real Talk. I am Ashley Bordy, and here's my co-host.
I am Deanne Roundy, and we have with us today the Fernandezes. We have Stacy and Eliezer. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you here, and we'd like to get to know you just a little bit first. So, I guess you guys are married, first of all.
We are.
Yes. And how's that going with real estate?
It's going really good. So I had originally got my license, and then we had a baby. And so we needed a little extra help. And so Eliezer ended up getting his license. And yeah, it's been going really well ever since. And we have a couple investment properties and had always kind of talked about doing real estate, like sales. Actually, Cody Brinkman was our realtor.
He was our first realtor, actually. He's the one that reached out to us when we were starting to find out about, investing and buying properties, rentals and whatnot. And he's took us out to dinner.
Yeah. Okay. When did you get into real estate investing world and then got your license? Like what year was that? Flipped our first property in 2017.
Yes.
And then Cody was like, Stacy, you should get your license. I think you like this. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. So he fired himself in 2018.
Yeah. And I just came along, and also with that said, Stacy does have a history. Her dad's a contractor and she's kind of been in the wheelhouse of builds and whatnot. And, I was thankfully enough kind of joined the party along with that. So.
I feel like too, when you get your license and you're an investor before and you get your license and then more things come on your plate. You guys also, do you still have run an Airbnb? You had an Airbnb for a while?
Yep. So we manage it. Right now we have actually one of our buying clients, she sold her house and she's buying. So she's living in it right now temporarily.
Oh.
But outside of that, it's ran as an Airbnb.
That's nice. Yeah, it's like a nice thing to have when you have clients in between.
Actually, I brought it up a couple of times. I'm like it's kind of nice because, contingency offers aren't the greatest. And sometimes you could have that on the side and go like, hey, technically, if you want, I have a spot for you.
Place for you.
Wow.
Not right now for other clients, sorry. But
yeah. It just so happens that it worked out for her.
Yeah.
She put her stuff in storage, or what did she do with
partially, right?
Partial storage, it's got a garage, so storage and parking. Yeah, that's really nice to have that feature because contingency and like double day closing is so tough on people. So that's
totally
makes sense. That. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. So how do you guys work the dynamic with the two of you? Do you guys find that you guys either have like certain strengths that you guys bring to the table to work together, or how does that work?
I have to be very careful.
I would like to know.
No, I mean, cut me off whenever. No. But I think Stacy's very, when it comes to like the day to day, knowing what to do. She, in terms of the relationship with client to realtor, she knows that relationship very well. Obviously, we've been on the investment side for a while, but when it comes to a realtor, she definitely has that portion. For me, it's like,
he's a cold calling expert.
I like calling people. I don't mind door knocking. I don't mind talking to people from scratch. You go like, hey, you're looking to buy or sell. What are you trying to do? What's your goals? And I love to spring that conversation up, and I don't mind doing that. But Stacy, from there, she loves taking the torch and giving them the whole spiel as to how expectations are and so forth, and what to expect and what they're trying to do and how to do that. So.
Yeah, you guys make a great team.
Yeah, it works out well. He does all the things I don't like to do.
Yeah,
I just manage.
So it works out that way, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. Let's talk a little bit about what it's like to work with a realtor. We talk about, there's real estate agents and realtors and, differentiation for standards, I guess, we go through when we become a realtor. So tell me a little bit about what someone should expect when they're working with you guys.
3 things came to mind when thinking about that. I would say communication is one, resourcefulness, and just being truthful. Obviously, if you want me to elaborate on those, communication is pretty straightforward. Mm-hmm. Being able to communicate in certain situations, circumstances, what to expect, and so forth. And then the other one is honesty, is just simply when the client's being honest with you, you being honest with them in terms of expectations. Mm-hmm. Go like, hey, this is my budget. I want, and I also want granite countertops and this side of town. You're like, I wouldn't be honest with you and tell you, this is what we should be expecting, things we're able to do. And then the other one's resourcefulness, being able to tie in mortgage lenders that if they don't have anyone in mind, or
contacts. Windows, you name it, you got to be able to kind of help them out. I also think like when you're working with a realtor, like what you should expect, I'll take like the more practical side, like
obviously you should take into account all those things, but we've had some lawsuit changes recently. So there's going to be some like differing ways business is done.
Yep.
So the way we like to run our business is we do a consultation with them, sit down, talk about their goals, exactly what they should be expecting, kind of to-dos that they need to do, and then what we as a realtor are going to do in service for them. And then, like I said, with the lawsuit, people should be expecting to sign paperwork now, like right at a consultation or before you see a house. You can't even get into a house without paperwork. So I think that's a new thing to the industry and to the market that people are going to be kind of a little hesitant about, because it's a big deal when you sign your name to a contract. We have to get paid. We don't work for free. So I think just expecting that from the get-go, and I think that can really be helped understood through a consultation, which is like our best practice, how we prefer to work with clients.
Yeah, I do think that we will see more of that, and I have experienced walking by when you're having buyer consultations, and I feel like we're going to see a lot more of that for the entirety of real estate. You know, people show up sometimes for the first time meeting their agent, or they want to just see a house and then they never talk to that agent again. That happens quite a bit in this industry. And so I think we're going to experience less of that because, you know, in order to get in the door, they will need to sign an exclusive agency contract. And you guys already are ahead of the game on knowing how to talk with clients on meeting with them before you even get to the door. So,
yeah, I do
that's
think
great.
what's, you know, kind of interesting about that is, you know, you're basically asking someone, if you've never met him before, you're basically saying, hey, sign that you're going to work with me and absolutely nobody else. And that can be really scary. I mean, I try to put myself in the buyer's shoes.
Yeah.
And would I sign that? Right. If I had just met an agent, it would be very hard to sign it. But I also think that it goes to the importance of finding the right agent for you. Right. And not every agent is equal. Not every realtor is equal. And there are definitely a lot of differences out there, and finding the right match is just, I think, really key to make sure that working relationship, you get the process is smooth, you get the house that you want. So kind of talk about, what are your thoughts on what it really takes to have that match, you know, with client and agent?
Yeah, honestly, whenever I like sit down at a buyer's consultation, I'm like, guys, we're gonna be dating. We're gonna
It's true.
I'm like, I'm married, I promise, but we're gonna be dating because we're gonna see each other a lot. We're gonna go check out houses. You're gonna text me all the time, and then we're gonna get you under contract on something, and it's gonna be like the hard part in dating because it's emotional and there's like things to get done, and then you're gonna close on the house and you're gonna be so happy that you bought this house. You're never gonna talk to me again. And so I consider myself the ex that got you to find love. And like, you'll still think of me happily, but you might call me if you need something, but you're already in love with your house, so you really don't need me anymore.
Oh, that's funny.
So, I mean, finding a realtor really is like dating, but I think what makes it so important with matching with the right one is everyone has like different communication styles and different goals, and to be able to get from point A of, hey, I want to buy or I want to sell, and to closing, there's a lot that goes on in there. And to be able to have a good match is super essential. What are your thoughts on finding the right match?
I mean, really, you can go about it two ways that comes to mind. For me, it's like you either go online and just type in a name or try to search for something random and come across a random realtor and reach out that way, or try to get a hold of them that way. The other one is like by referrals, which obviously we all like.
Yeah, I think the common ways that people find a realtor is kind of like problematic. Like if you just call the sign or the Zillow, like you said, you go and you're like signing a contract saying, hey, I'm going to buy with you. And you didn't really interview them, get to know them. And so I think that way of finding a realtor is kind of dying. Referral, I think, is a much better way, whether that's like your friend finds a realtor and then says, hey, I really like this realtor, you should use them. I think that's a better way.
I mean, those are the greatest ones, really, right? Because those are like your friend or a family member, which you know who they are and how they are, and that they're meticulous. So like they're saying this one person's really good, they have to be like the bee's knees. So I'm going to go with that, which is ideal, but.
Yeah, I love the word interview because I feel like, you know, now when you're having these consultations, it is like an interview between both parties. Like, do you want to work with me? Do I want to work with you? And you know, there are some times you just don't mesh, you know, or maybe personality wise, I think that you'd be a better fit for this agent, you know, working this way. So
that's a good point, actually.
I think the interview process will become very important as we move forward and the lawsuit changes.
And I think in real estate too, there's so many facets of it, right? You guys talk about investments, and you of course have the residential side, you have commercial, you have, you know, so many different ways you can go that, sometimes you might be, meeting with someone and they don't have the experience, that you
Sure.
need and what you're looking to do. So that's probably also really important in matching, right, with that. And I do think, the interview, buyers, I try to put myself as a buyer, if
Yep.
in this new world of real estate, what would I be doing? I would probably line up a few different interviews, but I think what is going to then change in the industry, if that's what people end up doing, is that, I think typically a house would pop up and you'd say, I want to go see it. Well, if you haven't interviewed your people, you may then lose the house,
Yeah.
right? Because you weren't quick enough or whatever. So I think there's going to be definitely some, some challenges, I think, in this new kind of world that we're going to be living in with this. But I also think that's why it's so important, the referral.
Yes.
Because if you already had someone in your pocket that someone referred to you or a name, again, to your point, the trust is already kind of built there a little bit, with that person. So,
And I actually want to touch a point on Ashley. What she mentioned is that interview portion and being able to have the skill set, or at least the connection, I guess, to go like, hey, we're not a good fit, but I know who can help you in this circumstance. Like, for instance, a perfect example is like, hey, I got these goals, but then in the back of your mind while you're doing the interview, you go like, you know what? During this interview, I've kind of realized that you're looking for more of a commercial opportunity, and that's just not my wheelhouse. And I know who to get a hold of to help you take you to the next step to where you need to go, which is another point that Stacy had mentioned to me before as well.
I think that just by knowing Stacy long time and Eliezer, that you guys also do a good job of getting to know like the other agents within our company. And if there's like something where you need to refer out or whatnot, like you have those relationships, which I feel like is huge in our industry. And I wanted to touch a little bit on referrals. So Stacy, I've seen you refer out clients out of state, which is something really great that, we offer within Coldwell Banker. We have a lot of networks all over. Tell us a little bit about that area, how that's worked out with you, referring clients out to other outside states.
Absolutely. So we're actually really excited about this. We call it Realtor matchmaking, going back to the relationship stuff. So we recently had some clients that they sold their house in Ashland and they were in the Air Force and they were getting moved bases. And so they were moving from Nebraska to Washington and they knew no one out there. And so they had asked us to kind of help them find a realtor. And so I was actually really excited about this because, I really love connecting people. And this was in our wheelhouse. We're realtors. We know what realtors bring to the table. So we found them a really awesome realtor. I call her our fave agent. She did an amazing job. So they weren't going to be able to go out there and see the house at all. So she was going to literally be their boots on the ground, their resource for finding a lender, contractors, and being the one walking through these showings and verbally being able to tell them like, hey, you're going to like this or you're not going to like this. And so they put a lot of trust in us to help them find a realtor. And we kind of found out through this process that we really enjoy doing this. And so we are kind of trying to expand our business more and do more referrals. So if you know anyone out of state, or honestly, we can do the whole world. So Coldwell Bankers everywhere. They don't have to be a Coldwell Banker agent, but what we want to do is we have what we call a discovery date. We get on the phone with them, talk about their goals, where they want to go, learn about what kind of communication style they do and who they would work best with. And then we take that information and we research realtors, connect them, and then we kind of are there as the background person in the event they want like a second opinion, or they just need to be like, hey, is this normal? We can be like, yes, because sometimes, these transactions can get difficult and you just want that third person opinion. At least you have someone in the industry that can kind of help guide you.
And sometimes the transaction itself is tied, because they do have to sell where they're currently at and kind of communicate that with what's going on in the other state, which I think is a big component too of having that good transition period of understanding there's two parties communicating well between those two transactions. So that's good too. That's another good portion of it.
And I assume too, you guys will, I'm sure you do a great job of interviewing that agent before you hand it off, because that's a big deal. When they trust you and you've helped them here and then, you're handing them over. I just had a client do that in another state, and your comment about them calling you, know, to like, is this all right? I've had that too. Like, they trust to know you first. And so I think it's a vital piece that you get to,
I think I think that's such a great service that you guys provide, because it is so scary when you're someone and you're moving out of state and you don't know the area, you don't know the people. And if you're not in real estate, you don't know what to ask.
No,
So a lot of agents, I mean, I've moved states and I don't even remember how I found my one agent, but it was just like, I don't know, do I like her? Like that was my baseline. I was like, if I like her, then let's do it, But like looking back now for what I know is in being in real estate, I'm like, oh my gosh, I would have asked this. Now she turned out to be fantastic, which was great.
Which is lovely.
But it wasn't, it's like, there are a lot of things that are important to ask a real estate agent that I think most clients won't ever know. So I think that service is great to be offered.
Yeah. We're really excited about it. I mean, like the story we told you, I mean, they just had a brand new baby and 2 dogs and they're moving across the country.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot going on.
And the realtor that we found for them, she was specialized in VA. She found them a great neighborhood that worked for them. They're big outdoors people.
And the accountability portion too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
you have
it's not
another
just them.
person to like, hey, if they're not responding, you reach out to me and I'm going to get them on the phone. We're going to talk. Like, I know what you should and shouldn't be doing as a realtor. So it
Which
kind of helps give you
They've referenced to you a couple things that she was advising on, and they always touch base with her for a double check, just to make sure, because once again, they're not there.
Yeah. And
it's
our
nice.
markets are different for sure. But, we can help kind of ease the emotional pain because there's a lot of emotions. I mean, this was $500,000 they were dealing with. Like, this is a lot of money.
It, right?
Yeah. They didn't see
And
it.
not seeing
Yeah,
it.
that's so scary. So
They did love it, if you guys were wondering.
Oh, yeah.
When they showed up.
I really hope it's better have a happy ending.
it does.
it closed. It closed. They love their
Fine.
house.
They
They're
love
doing
it.
some fixes, and they're really happy with their agent, which was what we were really excited about.
Yep.
So,
Speaking of baby, you guys have a sweet little almost 1-year-old, right?
how's it was? It's crazy.
Oh, that's so crazy.
What
People
I
say go fast, and you guys were not kidding.
Yeah, it flies by. What I love is you guys involve family in real estate. So he hops along a lot of your appointments and whatnot.
Oh yeah, he's my showing assistant. I should be paying. I think there's tax runoffs for that. There is.
There is
Be
actually.
paying
Yeah.
him.
That's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're getting kind of close here to wrapping up. What is the best way for people to reach you?
We serve the Lincoln area, so you can reach us on our phones. You can just Google our names. His is hard to spell, so Google mine. And then another way is we're going to be rolling out a website. It's going to be myfavoriterealtors.com.
Nice.
It does have a website right now. It's more focused on the Lincoln area right now, but eventually we're going to focus on the referral portion of it. So find us there, and you'll find our contact info there as well.
Awesome. Phone numbers to reach?
531-510-2743.
Awesome.
Mine is 402-413-9558. I had to think.
You never call yourself, so
No.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being on. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank
And yeah, and that's a wrap.
you. Thank you.